Hey guys, it's Anthony Bandiero here, attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training, bringing you another roadside chat from the studio. All right, so here's our question. Comes from an officer in Alabama. Can you chase a person into their home with reasonable suspicion? So you can picture this, right? You're trying to, detain somebody under like a Terry type stop outside their home, and then they try to flee into their home. Well, I think the answer is no with reasonable suspicion, but it's yes with an arrestable offense. Okay, so let's kind of go through a few cases. So first, a case I want to talk to you about is Santana. So what happened in Santana, it's a U.S. Supreme Court case. What happened was that the Santana sold narcotics to an undercover officer. They then leave, or the officer leaves, comes back with an arrest team. And Santana's, by the time this happens, Santana's just like sitting in the doorway, her door frame, threshold of her house, waiting for the next customer. They badge her, say, hey, you're under arrest. She then flees inside the house. They chase her, arrest her. While in there, they see more evidence in plain view. And then she's ultimately charged with even more crimes. So the Supreme Court rightfully, logically upheld the hot pursuit into her home because she's at her doorway or out. She's in a public place. But if she would have been inside her house just by even a few inches, the outcome would have likely been different. So there's our first case, is that if officers, have probable cause in Santana, they already had the probable cause, and the person is in a public place before the seizure is attempted, right? And they chase that person, they can follow that person, into the house, because it's not reasonable for people to be able to frustrate a lawful detention by simply going into their house and saying not it. Another case that a lot of lawyers bring up in defense of the opposite view, which is you cannot do it, is a case called it's called Welsh versus Wisconsin. Here, the court suppressed the evidence because what happened was the officers tracked down Welsh to his house and arrested him for DUI. But the problem is, at the time of this case, DUI in Wisconsin was not an arrestable offense from 1984. It was just like a civil issue. And so the main takeaway from Welsh is not that you cannot go into homes for minor offenses. The better view is that you cannot go and chase people, into their homes for non-arrestable offenses. But remember too that Welsh was not even a hot pursuit case. It was, I would call, a fresh pursuit case. You recently tracked him down to his house and you enter the home. And again, that is just different facts than today, because everywhere it's an arrestable offense. That's not just some kind of civil issue. So there's kind of our two cases that are bounced around back and forth. And then we also have a case called Sims, which is a very, very recent, it's only a few years old, a very recent United States Supreme Court case that actually directly dealt with this issue about chasing people with reasonable suspicion. And they didn't actually say, hey, look, it is constitutional or it isn't. They just said, under the facts of the case, it's not clearly established either way. So the officer was entitled to qualified immunity. But what happened there was the guy was chasing this person. They go into their courtyard. The cop, kicks open the gate and ends up hurting somebody. And they said, hey, look, you can't chase this person just for reasonable suspicion. But remember, though, when people run from you and they know they're being chased by law enforcement, that is usually obstruction, which is an arrestable offense. Okay, which brings me back to my answer. So I think that most, I can't think, just there's a few exceptions, but most intrusions into the home without a warrant or without a consent are based on a probable cause level of certainty that something is going on. And also some form of exigency. But there's not too many things out there that are going to let you get into the home with something less than probable cause. So that's my first, guidance for you. So what I would do is if I'm chasing somebody for the reasonable suspicion and they know I'm chasing them and they're not following commands to stop and so forth, then I'm going to articulate that now it's obstruction. And that is some kind of whatever you guys want to call it in your state. And now it's an arrestable offense committed in my presence. And therefore the hot pursuit is based off of that going to the home. That's what I think is what the Fourth Amendment requires. At the same time, let's not be silly about this. Chasing people because you thought that they committed a jaywalk offense. You're not positive, but you think that they committed a jaywalk, and they jaywalked, and then they run into their home. I'm not running after that dude into his house. I'll surround and call out. I'll go get the warrant. It's just too minor of an offense. So I'm looking for a little bit more serious. So use good judgment, because the courts will criticize the whole thing, right? They will evaluate how much force was used. Did you have to kick down the door? Did you hold people down at gunpoint based off of some very minor crime, right? And so forth. So there you go. So I think the answer is no under reasonable suspicion. Yes under probable cause. That plus hot pursuit gives you the entry, even if it's a minor crime, but it has to be an arrestable crime according to Welsh. All right? All right. Hopefully that helps. If you like what I'm doing, hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, visit us at bluetogold.com and look for the other training that we do. I do training every week along with my other instructors, and we are trying to train every cop in America so you guys make good case law. All right? Until next time, my friends, stay safe.
When it comes to legal training, we're the gold standard. Visit bluetogold.com or call 888-579-7796 today to purchase the Search and Seizure Survival Guide, register for a class, or learn how to bring our search and seizure training to your agency.